Final contender, please. And your name is?
Mick Judge.
Your occupation?
Customer Service Officer.
And your specialist subject?
The films of Todd Slaughter.
Todd Slaughter in 2 minutes. Todd Slaughter, best known for playing villains in adaptations of macabre Victorian melodramas, began his screen career in which film released in 1935?
Maria Martin.
Yes, Murder at Scotland Yard, a sequel to the 52 film King of the Underworld, depicts the continuing battle between the master criminal Terence Riley, played by Slaughter in his last feature film, and which former Scotland Yard policeman?
Pass.
What is the number of the young prisoner, Matthew Josephs, in It's Never Too Late to Mend? He dies as a result of extra punishment ordered by Squire Meadows, the sadistic visiting magistrate.
19.
15. Paul Hartwood poses as a solicitor and rescues Lady Glyde from an asylum in Crimes at the Dark House. In what capacity had he been employed before her marriage?
Drawing tutor.
Yes. What alliterative two-word term is used for low-budget films of the 20s and 30s, such as those producer-director George King made with Slaughter following legislation aimed at helping the British film industry?
Quota quickie.
Yes. Who wrote in an enthusiastic review of The Face at the Window that it's one of the best English pictures I've seen and leaves the American horror films far behind?
Graham Greene.
Yes, Joshua Gibson, the bill broker in The Ticket of Lead Man, offers Bob Brierley a job, thinking that he is the brother of May Edwards and that he has served in which of Her Majesty's services?
Navy.
Yes, the Royal Marines. What role was played by Slaughter's wife, Jenny Lynn, in the 1948 film The Greed of William Hart?
Pass.
In Sweeney Todd, the demon barber of Fleet Street, Mark Ingestra, helped by Mrs. Lovett, escapes from Todd's cellar through a secret passage to emerge in the porch of which church?
St Dunstan's.
Yes. What did the farmer's daughter, Maria Martin, tell her mother she was going to do on the first night that she was actually visiting Squire Corder?
To go to choir practice.
Yes. On board which ship does George Fielding return from Australia in time to prevent the marriage of his sweetheart to the evil Squire Meadows in It's Never Too Late to Mend?
Pass.
Slaughter's film career resumed after the war at which studios, where he played the chief in The Curse of the Radons for Ambassador Films in 1946?
Bushy.
Yeah. In The Face at the Window, when the young bank clerk Lucien Courtier visits the Blind Rat Tavern, he pretends to be a convict, newly escaped from which prison?
Bastille.
No, La Roquette. You had 3 passes. The name of that ship that Fielding returned from Australia in was the Sunflower. Helen Moore was the role played by Slaughter's wife, Jenny Lynn, in The Greed of William Hart. And the former Scotland Yard policeman in Murder at Scotland Yard was John Morley. 3 passes, Mick. You have 8 points. So that's the end of the first round, the specialist subjects. Let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 6 points, Kimberly Rescall. 3rd place, 8 points, Mick Judge. 2nd place, 12 points, Jonathan Payton. In the lead with 13 points, Marcus Hake. Round 2 now, general knowledge, and if there is a tie at the end of it, then the number of passes is taken into account, and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they're tied on passes as well, there will be a tie break. The 6 higher scoring runners-up from the heats will also claim a place in the semi-finals, so there's plenty to play for. Let's get on with it and ask Kimberly to join us again, please. And you begin this round with 6 points with your knowledge of the Battle of the River Plate. And this being the general knowledge round, you have 2.5 minutes. So let's see how you do. Here we go. Which country's perpetual neutrality was recognised and guaranteed by the Second Treaty of Paris of November 1815?
Switzerland.
Yes. Which Birmingham-born rocker was the original lead vocalist with the heavy metal band Black Sabbath?
Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes. What Italian word for frothing is used to denote sparkling wine as opposed to frizzanti, which is semi-sparkling?
Frascati.
Spumanti. Which Dublin theatre that takes its name from the street it's on grew out of the Irish Literary Theatre founded in 1899 by Lady Isabella Augusta Gregory and W.B. Yeats?
Pass.
In which television crime drama series does Helen Mirren play the tenacious policewoman Jane Tennyson?
Above Suspicion.
No, Prime Suspect. The radical French revolutionary Jean-Paul Marat was murdered by Charlotte Corday in 1793. What was he doing at the time to ease the pain from a skin disease?
Bathing.
Yes, he was having a medicinal bath. Wheaton College in Illinois houses which item of furniture that belonged to the family of C.S. Lewis and is featured in the title of one of his books?
A looking glass.
A wardrobe. Which land where Cain went to live immediately after killing Abel is described in the book of Genesis as on the east of Eden? The name is now used in a phrase meaning asleep.
Land of Nod.
Yes, in gardening, what term is used for a plant that completes its life cycle in 2 years or growing seasons?
Biennial.
Yes, which genre of fiction, popular in the late 18th and early 19th centuries, consists of stories of terror and suspense, usually set in a gloomy old castle or monastery?
Horror.
Gothic. In which country is the Angkor Archaeological Park, a large area of ruins famous for its temple complexes of Angkor Wat and Angkor Thom?
No idea.
I'll take it as a pass. The Prix de Jockey Club, first run in 1836, is the French equivalent of which English classic horse race?
The Derby.
Yes, at the end of which Oscar-winning 97 film is a fabulous blue diamond known as the Heart of the Ocean, tossed into the Atlantic?
Titanic.
Yes, which scientist, best known for his contributions to the field of electromagnetism, started his working life apprenticed to a bookbinder before becoming Sir Humphrey Davy's assistant?
Pass.
What name is given to the period of time taken off from study by a student, typically between leaving school and starting university or college? It's usually an academic year in length.
Gap year.
Yeah, which German dish was called Liberty cabbage in America during the First World War?
Sauerkraut.
Yes, who became president of the new post-Soviet Union Russia on the 25th of December 1991 and resigned on New Year's Eve 1999?
Boris Yeltsin.
Yes, which ship canal that runs inland from the Mersey estuary was opened in 1894?
The Grand Canal.
The Manchester Ship Canal. You had 3 passes. It was Michael Faraday who made those contributions to the field of electromagnetics. Cambodia is where Angkor Wat and all that is, as you knew. And Abbey Theatre was the name of that Dublin theatre that W.B. Yeats helped to form. You now have, Kimberley, a total of 16 points. And now Mick Judge again, please. And you begin with 8 points with your knowledge of Todd Slaughter, about whom I suspect we didn't know very much at all before you answered those questions. You now have 2.5 minutes of general knowledge, starting now. After starting his literary career as a novelist and playwright, who became famous when he published the verses he had written for his son, Christopher Robin?
A.A. Milne.
Yes. Which island did China cede to Britain by the Treaty of Nanking of 1842?
Hong Kong.
Yes. Which actor whose film credits include When Harry Met Sally and City Slickers hosted the Oscar ceremony for the 9th time in 2012?
Billy Crystal.
Yes. Who sculpted the little 14-year-old dancer, a wax figure on a wooden base wearing a real towel tutu? It caused uproar when it was first exhibited in 1881.
Rodin.
Degas. Which rank comes immediately above captain in the British Army?
Major.
Yes, which vegetable frequently eaten raw has trench-grown varieties, including giant white, and self-blanching varieties, including ivory tower?
Cabbage.
Celery. What is the modern name of the body of water that the Romans called Mare Nostrum?
North Sea.
The Mediterranean Sea. Whom did Muhammad Ali knock out in the Rumble in the Jungle in Kinshasa in October 74 to regain the world heavyweight title?
George Foreman.
Yes, what name was given to the early 19th century rioters who smashed the textile machinery they thought was a threat to their livelihoods? It's now used for anyone who opposes technological change.
Luddites.
Yeah, what is the anatomical name for the thigh bone? It comes from the Latin for thigh.
Femur.
Yes. Which remote moorland farmhouse is the home of the Earnshaw family in the classic 1847 novel by Emily Bronte?
Wuthering Heights.
Yes. What type of dreamy or romantic composition for the piano, inspired by The Night, was created by the Irish composer John Field around 1814 and later popularised by Chopin?
Sonata.
Nocturne. Who stars as the straight-laced detective inspector Richard Poole in the television series Death in Paradise? He always wears his suit and tie in spite of being on a Caribbean island.
Pass.
In classical mythology, over which river were the souls of the dead ferried into the underworld by Charon? Its name comes from the Greek for hated.
Styx.
Yes. In what position did Albert Camus, Pope John Paul II and Luciano Pavarotti normally play when they appeared on the football field?
Goalkeeper.
Yep. Flick Colby choreographed which dance group on Top of the Pops from 1968 to 76?
Hands People.
Yes. The males of which species of crab have one claw much larger than the other? The name is said to come from the way the crab holds the claw like a violinist holds a violin.
Fiddler.
Yep. What word did the Liberal Party add to their official name in October 1989 following their merger with the majority of the former SDP?
Democratic.
Yes, Liberal Democrats. The 11th century Anglo-Saxon noblewoman, the wife of Leofric, the Earl of Mercia, is more generally known by what name?
Lady Godiva.
Lady Godiva is correct. You had one pass. It's Ben Miller who stars as Detective Inspector Richard Poole. You have, Mick, a total of 22 points.